I'm Marin, and this is Post-its and Pens. Hello and welcome to or welcome back to my channel. My name is Marin, and here you will find a little beauty, a little books, and a little teaching content. So if that sounds like something you might enjoy, I would love for you to subscribe and stick around and join me in my little corner of YouTube. Today's video is going to be my take on the end of the year book tag, which was created by Ariel Bissett. So let's go ahead and get into the video. Now, this tag consists of 6 questions. I will list them down below in case you would also like to do this tag. I've seen numerous people do it already. I'm a little late, but I wanted to see what I could get read so that I wouldn't have to put it on this list. So this tag is also going to work as a way for me to let you know all of the books that I said I was going to read at the beginning of the year that I still have not read. So we'll get to that in a minute. But let's go ahead and start with question number 1, which says, are there any books you started this year that you need to finish? And the answer to that is no. I have DNF'd probably 5 books at this point, and I do not have any plans to go back and read them. So I've DNF'd them. They're done, in my opinion. And I am not in the middle of anything like from the beginning of the year. I'm currently reading a book, but that doesn't really count for this one. Okay, question number 2 wants to know, do you have an autumnal book to transition into the end of the year? I did my October TBR, which was full of like spooky books, and that was my way of transitioning into the fall season and kind of heading into the final quarter of the year. If you are curious about everything I read in October, I'll link it up above. There were a lot of books, so grab a snack and a drink before you settle in to watch. Question number 3 wants to know, is there a new release you're still waiting for? And this book has been released, but I'm waiting for my library copy to come in, and that is Grey Warren by Maggie Stiefvater. This is the 3rd and final book in her Dreamer trilogy, which follows Ronan. It's like the sequel series to the Raven Boys. So I am waiting for that to come in at the library, but that's the only new release that I still need to read. Question number 4 says, what are 3 books you want to read before the end of the year? I'm going to pause on this one. We'll come back because this is where I'm going to list all of the books I still need to read in order to reach my beginning of the year goals. So hold that thought on number 4. We're going to move on to question 5 first, which says, is there a book you think could still shock you and become your favorite book of the year? The answer is yes. I have 2 books that are on my 22 books to read in 2022 list that I have not gotten to yet. One is The 10,000 Doors of January by Alex E. Harrow. I absolutely loved The Once and Future Witches, so there's a good chance that could be a favorite. And I also have The House in the Cerulean Sea by T.J. Klune on my list to read, so that could also become a favorite just because I know how hyped that one is. So those are the 2 that I'm thinking could potentially become the favorite of the year, but we'll just have to see what happens. Okay, question number 6 says, have you already started making reading plans for 2023? Yes, your girl's a planner. I have already come up with a preliminary list of books for my 23 books to read in 2023. And I have already come up with some potential series that I'm wanting to finish. My goal is going to be to finish 10 series next year. This year I said 22 of them. That was a little much. So we're just going to go with 10 series to try to finish next year. And I have already started making that list as well. I've also already redone my TBR jar for next year. I took all of the books on my Goodreads Want to Read list, all of the books on my physical shelf, all of the books on my library wish list, and I put them all into the jar. So you've seen that if you've watched any of my vlogs. I've been working on that sporadically over the last month and a half. So I have revamped that. It's going to play a role in my TBR game for next year. which I've also started working on. I'm still going to do a Wheel of TBR. I'm just changing it up a little bit. So all of that has been stuff that I've been thinking about, planning. I am a planner. I love to have things laid out. I think that's the teacher in me. I have to plan so much when I'm teaching that it just becomes habit. So, but yes, to answer that question, yes, definitely already making reading plans. All right, so now let's go back to the list of books that I still need to read before the end of the year in order to reach my reading goals that I set at the beginning of 2022. If you're curious, I'll link that goals video up above, but I'm just gonna pull the reading parts out of that video and go through the books that I have not yet managed to read. Your girl did not do very well with her lists at all this year. I should have been much better about reading them throughout the year. I didn't do that, so now I have a list of 17 books that I still need to read before the end of the year in order to meet those goals. So let's just dive in, because this is where the bulk of the video is going to come from. To start off, I had set a goal to read each of the Literally Dead book club picks for the year, and I have the final one right here, which is House of Hunger by Alexis Henderson. This is the November pick, so obviously I need to read this one. Hopefully I can get to it soon, but we will just play it by ear because I do have some other books that I need to read this month as well. So this is the first one. Once I read this, I will have read all 10 of the picks for the book club, which is really exciting. Next, let's talk about the books from my 22 books to read in 2022 list that I have not yet read. One I am currently reading, and that is A Promised Land by Barack Obama. I am currently on page 206, I think. No, 205. It's this much. This book is so big, y'all. It's over 700 pages and it is heavy. So I'm listening to this one on audio, which is kind of slow going, but I don't have it set at a very fast pace because I'm really trying to like take in everything that he's written in the book. And sometimes when I set it a little bit faster, I miss certain things, but I feel like this book so far has been really interesting and I don't want to miss anything. So my guess is that it's going to take me a couple more weeks to finish the audio of this, but I am working on this. This is one of the books on the list that I have not finished reading, but at least I'm making progress. Another one from that list that I have not yet read is The Replacement by Brenna Yovanoff. This is a book about a changeling. So this is the final Brenna Yovanoff book that I have not read. I've read all of her other books, so this will cross the final book off of her backlist for me. So that's another one that I need to get to. I also have another hefty nonfiction that I did not read yet on that list, and that is Stamped from the Beginning by Ibram X. Kendi. Again, chunky. So I'm planning to get to this one in December and again listen to the audiobook of it. This one is not, I don't know, I'll show you really quickly, like the margins are better. So even though it's a thick book, it's not actually as long as A Promised Land, which has margins that go like all the way to the edge of the page. So that one is very, very hefty, but I'm really excited to read this one. I've heard great things about it. I did read like the YA version of this, really enjoyed it. So I'm hoping to be able to get to the adult version before the end of the year. It is on the list to read in December, so we will see. The rest of the books from that list that I have not yet read, I do not own, so I'll just put the picture right here for you. The first one is The Last Unicorn. Then I also have Memoirs of a Geisha. I have Daughter of Smoke and Bone by Laini Taylor, which I am hoping I will get to this month. That one will start a new series if I enjoy it, so I'm playing around with possibly finishing that series next year, so we'll just see. I also have My Life Next Door by Huntley Fitzpatrick. I have The 10,000 Doors of January by Alex E. Harrow and The House in the Cerulean Sea by T.J. Klune, which I've already mentioned. So that's 9 books from my list of 22 that I still need to read. Again, I told you I didn't do very well, so cross our fingers that we can get to all of those. Now we're gonna dive on into my 22 series that I wanted to finish in 2022. And my goal is to actually finish most of these this month during the Final Book Support Group Readathon, which is happening the entire week of Thanksgiving. So one of the books that I will be hopefully reading for that is House of Many Ways by Diana Wynne Jones, which will finish off the Howl's Moving Castle series. I also have Kingdom of Ashes by Rhiannon Thomas, which will finish off her A Wicked Thing series, which is a Sleeping Beauty retelling. Then I have The Hollow Heart by Marie Rutkowski. This is like a series, it's a series that's set in the same world as her previous series that I'm blanking on the name of, but here's the cover of the first book. I loved that series, so I'm wanting to finish The Hollow Heart, which will finish like the sequel-ish series off. Then I have books 2 and 3 from the Impossible series by Nancy Werlin. The first one is Extraordinary, and the third and final one is Unthinkable. It's like a fairy series. I loved the first book, so I'm curious to see what I'll think about the second and third. And the final book from my 22 series to read in 2022 list is Sword and Pen by Rachel Kane, and this is the 5th and final book in her The Great Library series, which is a series that I absolutely love. I read the 4th book earlier this year. Very much want to finish that one off. I'm looking forward to seeing how that series concludes. Okay, unless you think we're finished, we're not quite, because another goal I set for myself at the beginning of the year was to read one Nancy Drew book per month, and I have the final 2 books to read, number 11 and 12. Number 11 is The Clue of the Broken Locket, which I'm actually planning on starting and probably finishing today. And then the 12th book is The Message in the Hollow Oak. So I am on pace for that goal, and these books are very, very quick. So I have no doubt that I will be able to finish both of those without any problem. And the final challenge that I kind of set for myself was to do the buzzword challenge each month. So I DNF'd my November pick, unfortunately, just was not digging it, but I'm planning on getting to Kingdom of Ashes, which I mentioned earlier, also this month, and the prompt was to have an ing word in the title, and Kingdom has an ing word, so even though I DNF'd the book that I'd originally picked for that, I can go ahead and still get an ing book read to completion if I read Kingdom of Ashes. So that's kind of what I'm thinking. And then my buzzword pick for December, the prompt was number in the title. I am going to use the 10,000 Doors of January. So I have no doubt that I'll be able to at least finish that one, if not finish all of these other 16 books by the end of the year. So don't be like me. Y'all need to start your list earlier in the year. And this is one of those things that I was talking about when I said I was revamping my TBR game for next year. I want to make it a little bit more possible to get to these picks in a more timely fashion, like as in having the wheel pick them rather than me having to like shoehorn them into a prompt. So stay tuned, because I will talk about how I'm going to do that when I introduce my TBR game for next year, which will probably happen like the 1st of January. So anyway, there you have it. That is my end of the year book tag for 2022. Hopefully you enjoyed this video and a look at things that I still need to read before the year is over. If you did, please leave me a thumbs up. Consider subscribing to my channel if you would like to see more from me, and I will see you in my next video. Bye everyone.